Hey guys, welcome back to our weekly Fleetyards mission briefing. I am Captain Foley,
I'm Carl Cockins. Hi, guys.
and today, as always, we're going to be looking at a ship from the plethora of sci-fi universes out there, and we're going to kind of talk about it and break it down. We're not going to do a full episode with specs and all that jazz on it. We're going to do that later down the road. This is a first look at it, kind of just talking about it, what certain things can do, blah 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 blah. You know the routine. At least you should by now. If you haven't, check out our past episodes. Anyway, Commander, what are we looking at today?
Well, we are looking into a different universe, a one which I had not seen before, and then I suddenly binge watched it all, so now I have knowledge of it, which is great, because at the start of the show I didn't start off when we started Trekyards. Babylon 5, which you might have watched. Have you watched Babylon 5?
No.
Okay, great. The Omega class destroyer. And this is an Earth ship, the Earth Alliance. And sort of the primary attack ship from the Earth Alliance, as in Babylon 5. First reaction, Stuart.
It looks like the Sirocco.
Okay, I can see that.
Very realistic looking design. I suppose that part spins to create gravity.
Yes, it does.
Which I like. It's very real world,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's neat. I like it. I like all the antenna arrays. I think it makes it look very complicated and cool.
So it's worth pointing out, like we always do, all these renders are done by me at 1080p originally for these episodes, so it's fresh, and we tell you if they're original or not models, so you know about the details. This is a fan model, but as you can see, very heavily detailed, and again, take a pinch of salt as you will, but we sort of take what we see it. Yeah, so when I remember, I don't remember when I first saw this ship, but I remember it was the ship I knew most from Babylon 5. I had never seen the show. I'd maybe seen one episode and got bored because it was like middle of season 3. Like, if you don't know the context, it's very difficult to watch. But I remember seeing this ship as just knowing it, and I quite liked it. It has a lot of different shapes to it. It a lot of these sort of battle cruiser, straightforward military are very much like this flat line, but you've got these sort of triangle intro bit, which is flat as well, and these rotating bits, and then these straight engines. Like it's very varied and very full ship, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does, and that's why I like it, because of those different shapes and variations in it. I think it makes it much more realistic and something that is visually appealing, not just a cylinder. you know.
Yeah, but let's give some bit of background information about it. Active 2281, so TOS time, but not really. We'll see the length in a minute, but its crew is between 250 to 1,000 officers and crew. It has 4 Beijing Bryant 9000A particle thrust engines. It can independently jump, because in this universe you need jump gates, hyperspace jump gates, to be able to get between systems, but bigger ships have independent jump engines. This is actually an independent vehicle. It's got 4 52mm plasma pulse cannons, 4 laser batteries, and secondary armaments are 12 40mm pulse cannons. So it's very much, and then the primary weapons are these beam lasers at the front, which are pretty effective, and even against the most devastating villains of the show, multiple vessels all firing at the same time are still effective, although it's relative. I think a lot of the races are sort of roughly equal. I mean, the lasers are the big decider on this ship. If it was just the missiles and things or the bullets, it wouldn't be very effective. But one big thing about this universe is that they use fighters a lot, so it is also a carrier in a sense. It's class of destroyer, but it would come in, shoot all its Star Furies out, and then they would sort of help take out small craft and work as a team. So it's quite a fleet ship, and a single vessel is a threat just by itself, but in a fleet they're even stronger.
Yeah, cool. And how big is this thing, do we think?
Well, we know how big it is, and so do you want to go to the next picture, Stuart?
Oh, okay, next picture. Ooh, okay, it is big.
Yes, and again, I'm doing scale renders now for these to show you, talk a bit more about, to give you a sense of context, Stuart. What was your first impression about that?
Seems right to me. The first look at it looked very long and very big, so I have no problem with that at all. It's kind of what I expected, so that's good.
One thing these Fleetyards are doing, for me especially, is they're making Star Trek seem so small, you know?
Yeah, well, I think other sci-fi franchises feel threatened by Star Trek, so they need to say our ships are huger and bigger and better. Because Star Trek is the superior brand.
Yes.
Because I find a lot of these other sci-fi franchises, the ships look very much the same as this ship, kind of long and lots of greeblies and stuff on them, and the size is relatively the same. They're very large. But as we've talked about, Star Trek is more of a real world feel, I think.
Well, I mean, I think these other sci-fi shows, they're very much like the technology of today. You know, the battleships, the destroyers, that pushing forward into space. Whereas Star Trek, they took the look of let's have the advancement, let's have that aesthetical edge as well as pushing technology. And I mean, they don't go for thrusts; they go for bubbles. You know, it's a different style of thinking, and it's designed for exploration. I never got the sense Babylon 5 was about exploration. I mean, they just happened to bump into other aliens, you know, and then made friends and then go to Babylon 5. Whereas Star Trek is, let's build these ships, for these long missions, let's go and explore. Most sci-fis don't do exploration, to be fair. They're either in a war with some random alien race nearby, or Starship Troopers against the bugs, or, you know, it's so interesting how actually it makes you appreciate the good design of Star Trek, you know, because this is a very specific type, but these 3 Star Trek ships are all so different. Don't want to go on that too much, but yeah, and it's only puts into perspective though that there must be, when we talk about crew size, I mean, we just set out some numbers there, you know, 250 to 1,000 plus officers and crew. I mean, you're looking maybe 1,400. Well, if the D has 1,000 and it's so much smaller, well, that means a lot of this surface area for this ship is technology, is the physical, you know, the impulse engines on the Star Trek ship are, you know, not this small, but like they're very, very small.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And then suddenly you need this entire engine segment just to give it thrust on Babylon 5.
Like
so
that entire back part where it branches out would probably be the engines, the engine room, and all the big machinery they need to generate things. Where Star Trek doesn't have that. It has a warp core. It has the more advanced antimatter thing, which doesn't take up as much room. So
yeah, it's interesting. And this sort of size, I mean, it makes you... I still don't think it's more powerful, though. I would still put my money on the Star Treks, you know.
They just look more advanced. If you go to the next picture, just the sleekness of the Star Trek design. It's more advanced. But anyway, back to the Medusa or whatever this is.
Yes. But I do like the side shot. I you know, made the spinny thing at the top to give you perspective. But it's thick, but it's not too thick. But it is long. I don't know.
So you think the main command and control areas are in the front, and then like the living quarters are all in the spinny part, or
I would assume so, but then again, they always have gravity everywhere, so you don't need. I'm not really sure.
Just looks cool.
Well, it does look cool. Maybe that's just so they don't have to generate the power needed. Once it's spinning, it just spins. Whereas the other areas are forced artificial gravity. But obviously, if you're on a long journey, you don't want to waste the power to create the artificial gravity everywhere. I don't know. Maybe.
Makes sense.
But certainly it's interesting. Like, again, look at the compact nature of the Star Trek ships. Look how many antennas there are. I mean, there's a lot of things happening. I wonder what they all do. And, I mean, just looking at how big that front antenna is. I mean, that's almost the size of a warp nacelle for Star Trek. You know, like this huge thing. And, again, shows the advancement of Star Trek in comparison. I would definitely say Star Trek is faster as well, at least Advanced Trek. So it's interesting. It puts into perspective, you know. But this is quite a big ship in the Babylon 5 universe as well. You know, humans aren't the most advanced, but anyway, I mean, Minbari ships, the big ones are big, but the small ones, which are equally as powerful, are pretty small. So, I mean, there's a big plethora of sizes. And when we cover more Babylon 5 ships, I'm sure we'll get into that more.
Interesting. Cool. Yeah. Well, let's go to the next picture then. And see, I like the detailing on this ship. I think it looks very cool, especially those engines. They really, I'm impressed with this thing.
Yeah,
I'm not impressed with every ship we look at. You know that.
Oh, yes. Whoever made this 3D model, whoever made this 3D model put in all the detail, and when those engines are like real jet, huge. I mean, it somehow the ship feels fast, you know. Like it's overcompensating for its lack of. I don't know. Well, I don't feel like it's very maneuverable. I think it's good at straight lines, but how on earth could you even counterbalance the? Because I don't see any sort of side engines without, you know, thrusters are fine, but to counteract the gravity, you know, I feel like it would be very bad at turning.
Oh, I totally agree with you. Looking at this, it looks like it's fast in a straight line. Absolutely, but not a maneuverable ship at all. That's why it's got all the guns that swivel, because they don't.
Yes.
There's no maneuvering. It's just let's turn the guns.
It's a half a light year to do a U-turn.
Fair enough.
There are shots of the guns later on, so we don't need to talk about them fully now. But I'm wondering, I mean, those pod, the two sides that do move, I mean, it kind of feels very much like storage containers, sort of botany base style. But I'm sort of wondering how that's split up into personnel, because this is a military vessel. It's not families. It's not, whatever. But it has got quite a significant fighter contingent. Now I know launch pad is at the front. We'll see that in a minute. But I'm wondering where they store all the fighters as well. Probably
along the central core. I would think, and then I would think the living areas would be in the part that rotates.
Do you think then maybe the internal corridor within the corridor of the middle bit, that's like almost the bay is the core of the ship, and they then fly out the front?
Yeah, that's kind of what the vibe I get from it.
That's interesting. So it's kind of like a command control with an aircraft carrier in the middle, with the rotating dedicated living bits and just the engine at the back. It's very, very functional, everything's... And then if you look at the gun section, that's all of the outer areas, maybe the external top two, because there's little greeblies and there's two greeblies set above it. Maybe that's all the ammo for the gun, so it's very much like everything's subdivided. No space wasted, Well, the next picture is a nice close-up of the engines. So much detail, so much to look at, and... big engines.
Yeah, like the greebly detail on this thing's amazing. I wouldn't want to build a model of this thing.
You would never finish, or never stop. So I'm wondering, the whole hyperspace thing, I get the vibe just like other sci-fi universes. There is no it's not an engine per creating it. It's an internal device which creates a field. We know it's like a portal, but it's not an engine. It's a piece inside the hull.
Cool. All right, so let's go into the next photo. Oh, that's like farther away, but still the back.
Actually,
our gun's like 360 all the way around that, eh?
It's pretty well armed. It looks good for a lot of different angles. I mean, this is a cool angle for the ship, How much fuel do you think they have to carry to make those?
That's what I was just going to say, actually. It's funny you said that. It looks like a lot of that storage area in the back would be for fuel. Because I don't know if they use liquid fuel or solid fuel or what they use, but those engines look like they're pretty hungry for fuel.
Yeah, it's a cool looking ship. It's very... it's strange because if you took away the spinning bit, it'd be very weedy, very small. But they've managed to give it a sense of bulk and substantiality by carefully designing each element. It's actually pretty well crafted as a ship. I certainly appreciate it a bit more having now looked at these renders, which I made, but I wasn't really paying attention when I was rendering them because it was more about lighting than the actual ship. So next picture is the front, and there's another picture in there for the close-up to actual bay, but a lot of tech here, a lot of things. I think there's two cannons at the front there. We know the lasers are the two side weapons.
Wow.
A lot of greeblies, yeah.
I like that the hangar bay's up front and center. It's not like the bridge or anything, hit me first. It launches the Stinger fighter things and
Star Furies, yeah. Do you think there's a secondary door anywhere? Because I mean, you can imagine one torpedo, one missile in that door. If that door gets jammed or damaged or broken, damn, all our fight. There must be some other secondary way, you'd think, because that's a very obvious target, especially considering most ships in most universes are front-firing ships.
That's a very good point. There doesn't seem to be any other redundancy systems as far as launching fighters goes, so just heavily shielded maybe? Did they have like energy shields in Babylon 5, or is it all like armor?
Yeah, I don't think they have shields. I think it's all armor based, although some aliens do, so I think it's more armor. But I believe the later version, when it's explored Y, I think they also do have shields, but I'm not sure. But a lot of it is lasers, but some do particle weapons, and you can maybe shoot out particle weapons with other particle weapons, so it's kind of like... Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I would think if they could have an extra kind of shielding bubble or something around the front there, that might be the best solution. But if it's just armor, that's kind of iffy.
Yeah.
But let's go to the next shot. This is a close-up of the front, which I really like. This is cool.
How good does that look? Seriously.
I know, this looks amazing. There's like two guns on each side, like one big and one small.
I assume so. I mean, I think what the guy's done is build one cannon and then just replicate it a bajillion times to save on rendering. But I think those are the lasers and then on all the other ones there, cannons. But yeah, it's got a lot of cannons. I didn't realize there were two either side of the, behind the bridge or behind the area. But yeah.
Yeah, this hangar bay. So I assume that. Okay, does it have doors that close over this entranceway?
I assume so. Yeah.
Or is it like a force field kind of thing? I don't know.
Don't think they have force fields.
Because I can't see where the doors would be.
Well, they're just inside. I mean, the last bit you can see them. They're just a bit further. So there's two sorts of doors. And then they just launch, spit out fighters and then shooting guns and yeah, so much detail in this model. I love it.
Mm-hmm. It's very cool.
But I'm wondering what those things underneath the launch bay are. Those sort of canister looking. I mean, if you look, there's that yellow and black tape, which normally says either,
Caution.
Yeah, exactly. So, what do you think?
My guess would be some kind of sensor equipment that maybe gives off radiation. Maybe.
Rather than missile launchers.
Oh, could be. Although, why would they be different sizes and all?
That's a good point.
I don't know.
What are they though? I mean, to be fair, this is a lens changes the feel. Maybe it's not different sizes, but.
Well, if we go back to the last picture, yeah, the middle one's a little bit smaller, but the two side ones are the same.
Oh,
so.
sure. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Quantums and photons, I guess.
The next photo is another shot of the aft gun detail, which we can finally talk about. Yeah, these are big guns. These are big. They look like cannons, actual olden day cannons that fire the balls. That was and then sort of laser guiding, which I think they're actually lasers. The little bit, but yeah. What do you think?
I wouldn't want one aimed at me. I can tell you that. They look damn big based on the scale, and the fact they got that coverage, like they're basically just like big battleship guns. They can and they have them all around. So I mean, they got full coverage of the ship. I think it's great. I think it's cool.
I mean, you can imagine certainly for the two up, two lower, pretty hefty. Although I'm wondering, do you think they can go up a bit, because you can't really shoot forward or back? You'd hit the ship even if they angled up. So you think they'd be able to, because it wouldn't be cool if you're shooting this way and then the other two cannons can lift up, also turn and shoot that way. You can have 8 cannons firing.
That would be cool.
Wouldn't need to go up that much.
No. But it should be pointed out too that just like a battleship, they also pivot up like this. You can tell by which is neat. That would be cool if they could raise up and you could fire like all the sets at the same time in the same direction.
I think when we eventually get to our goal and do a Fleetyards episode on this, a full one, it'd be cool to have like a sort of top shot and then like a Defiant flies in and they just angle up and then that'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah. Lots of stuff to look forward to, guys. Next picture's dead on from the front.
It's just it's very similar to previous photos. It's just a dramatic. This is what you look at when it's bearing down at you. I just thought it was kind of a cool shot. I did. Yes, does look kind of menacing. That red does make a difference,
Yeah, and there you can see the door inside there a little bit better.
I would not want to fight this ship. Cannons are raring to blow you up.
Absolutely. How many fighters does this thing have?
I don't know. A squadron, I believe those sort of numbers vary depending on. I mean, obviously, depends if the war's going, if it's not going, if they have an extra squadron. I know they gave one of the ships was destroyed at one point and gave their squadron to Babylon 5. So I mean, it varies. I would assume 12 to 20. I have my assumption. Maybe a few less than that, depending.
I would say more, personally.
I mean, they do very effective. Again, it could be a limitation of the show. Like they couldn't render that many ships, so they couldn't show 60 fighters launching. So that could just be a limitation of what we see. We really only get a sense of 12 or so people in a squadron, but just very, very effective. So I don't know. That's probably just if they read it now, it's probably more like BSG. Launching a whole heap of fighters in one, Vipers in one strike. And the last picture, which is the first picture again. So Babylon 5. Now, if you guys remember from the very start of the show, I'd watched it when I was younger a little bit. I didn't have a good impression of it, so I was kind of like, oh. And then I was like, it's my last big sci-fi show I haven't seen yet. So I watched it, enjoyed it. First season's okay, it gets way better. Really, you get into it, and I appreciate it more. But I've still got this strange vibe about this ship. Just some of all of the Starfire and the main hybrid ship's really good. But what are your sort of closing thoughts on this ship? Having never seen Babylon 5, and I mean, had you seen this ship before this episode? Any posters?
Yeah, I had seen it represented a few times.
Okay.
I think it's a very cool looking ship. I did not launch fighters and stuff, but I think that's neat. And I think I could be down for watching Babylon 5. I think I might enjoy it. But yeah, I would love to learn more about this thing. It's the way it's laid out it interests me. I want to learn more about it and how exactly where everything is. So yeah, I'm looking forward to researching a full episode on this.
Not to have to add anything right at the end, but if we're assuming that the point of the spinning is to give artificial gravity, which would make sense, that's why Babylon 5 itself does spin, although you don't see any to spin at the command center. The fact that the aft section is so long, do you think then that could be a 0G bit? You push off from the wall and then you fly through it and to get to the aft section, once you pass it? Because that would kind of, the long and thin mentality would kind of work with a 0G.
Yeah, I'd buy that 100%. Yep.
Cool. Don't throw it out there.
Yeah, it might make the machinery operate better in 0G as well. I mean, less wear and tear on the parts. I don't know. There could be a reason for it. Although
shuffling bullets into a gun in 0G is not... I probably want gravity for that just to get,
Yeah, well.
So that is it. Your closing thought was you like it. My closing thought is I like it, although I want to know what these darn antennas do, because there's a lot of antennas. There's a lot of antennas. And they're big antennas as well.
Yeah.
Definitely a few human-sized. But that is it for this week. Stu, let's take us out.
Well, another great set of renders by you, Samuel. And tune in again next week for another Fleetyards mission briefing where we're looking at another sci-fi ship. Don't know what it's going to be yet, but check back. So if you want to see more of Fleetyards and some full Fleetyards episodes, please head on over to our Patreon page and donate. Because once we hit the $1,000 mark, we can actually start doing some more full episodes. We've done a few, but we're just doing these mission briefings because they're a lot easier to do, and they,
And to be fair, they're pretty fun with the renders and 1080p, and it is a nice thing to be able to show the audience. And our audience is predominantly Star Trek, but there's a lot of amazing designs out there, especially since you don't know them as much as I do. A lot of them, it's fun to hear your first impression and to see things that you never thought you'd see. Because in mission briefing, we sort of trained ourselves to really analyze and look at everything and ask these questions that you guys like to hear. So support us.
Yeah, we always learn a lot and surprise ourselves when we do mission briefings. So.
And then I learn a lot when you do the full episodes, because oh my god, you know everything now because you researched it, because you're a damn good researcher. Now we should probably concentration.
Thank you. Thank you. You're good at rendering.
Oh, there you go.
Anyway, guys, so head on over to Trekyards.com and you can check out our Trekyards show if you want, and always come back for Fleetyards if you're interested. Anyway, guys, like, subscribe, and we will see you next time. Until then, I'm Captain Foley.
I'm Commander Cockings.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.